Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of the interview. Today, I am delighted to have a very wonderful and interesting guest, and as you will soon find out. So today, I have with me Davidson Musa Lar. Mr. Davidson Rotshak Lar is a native of Plateau State, Nigeria. He's married to Victoria, and together they are blessed with 4 daughters. Mr. Lai is a graduate of several academic institutions, including the University of Jos, Theological College of Northern Nigeria, Nigeria Institute of Journalism, Lagos, and the Police Academy, Lagos. Professionally, Mr. Lai is a writer, he is an editor, he is a musician, he is an instrumentalist, he is a social crusader, a police officer, a social critic, and a priest. He is a man that wears many caps. As a journalist, Mr. Lar has worked with the Nigeria Standard newspaper from 1992 to 1997. As a priest, he served with the Anglican Diocese of Jos from 1997 to 2004. In 2005, he joined the Nigeria Police Force and rose to his current rank of a Superintendent of Police. Mr. Lar has several publications to his credit. He is the author of Passions, which is a novel. He is also the author of Soja Bewarang, a biography. He is the author of Fall Harvest, 50 Years of New Life for All in Nigeria, which is a book, and several articles in both national and international newspapers and journals. Mr. Lar has traveled extensively, including to places like the United States of America. He has traveled to Turkey, Greece, Israel, Malawi, South Africa, Ghana, Egypt, Rwanda, and many other places. You are welcome to the program, Mr. Lar. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Ted. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for honoring this invitation to be part of this wonderful program. To our viewers, I want to encourage you, as usual, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. As you can see that my guest today is really loaded, and there are a lot of interesting questions that I will be asking. So as I usually do, I encourage you to actively participate. You can comment, you can ask questions at any point during the interview. All right, so without further ado, I want us to go straight to the business of the day. You have this wonderful vocational track record. You have a combination of vocations that are rare or that is rare. You are a trained journalist, you are a priest, a musician, you are a police officer. The question is, how did you come about all these different vocations? How did you come about all these?
Can I humor you? When I was a child in primary school, if you asked me, what do you want to be? I tell my teachers I want to be a doctor. Everything I became was just by providence and chance. I didn't plan to be a police officer. I didn't plan to be a pastor. But one thing I knew I wanted to be was I wanted to be a singer, and I also want to write. Other things came by the way. They were all happenstance. They happened by chance. That's what I think I can see. But more than that, I think it's the grace of God, because I began from being a journalist after my school. I was writing. I was even picked. I didn't look for a job to be a journalist. I was called to be a journalist when I've been contributing articles. So my editors in Standard saw it and said, hey, come and work with us. While I was there, I was so churchy. And then people began saying, you are a pastor, you are a pastor. And before you know it, I was in the seminary. And then after that, I've met the Bishop of Jos, the Anglican Bishop of Jos. And then he told me I should be a priest. And I became a priest. So I was a priest for 10 years. And then along the way, the police came. And then they said they are doing recruitment for the police. And then I left and I became a police officer. So everything happened by chance. But I think God has a hand in it all.
All right. Chance probably will say divine providence. Maybe not coincidence, maybe not by chance, but we'll say maybe probably is the working
Divine
of
providence. Yeah.
divine providence. Well, so what is the connection among these various vocations? Do you see any connection between, being a police officer, being a musician, being a journalist, being a priest, and all these various things that you do? Is there any connection between them or among them?
Yes, let me start with being a police officer. Everybody that restrains evil is doing the work of God. And being a pastor, as a pastor, I am trained to help people be better, to have a better version of themselves, even as we strive to make heaven. So being a police officer also gives me the power to restrain evil from happening, because the police job itself is a calling where you tell people, do not steal, do not do this, do not do that. So for me, that is also interconnected. And then my music, of course, they say we'll be singing in heaven. So therefore, they meet there. And then what else? Writing, of course, writing has been in my blood from childhood. So they are all interrelated. So as a police officer, I find myself dabbling between being a police officer and a pastor, and then singing. And my job brings me into proximity with people, both good and bad, all the time. As a police officer, people come to see me when they have problems. As a pastor, they come to see me when they have problems. As a musician, I'm also reaching out to people. So somehow my job is so connected that I'm able to be a blessing to people at every time and at every moment.
Oh, that's wonderful. This is what Ruth Madaki says. Hi, Davidson. She's eager to hear your views on this episode, and she also concurs that it is the working of divine providence as opposed to chance. So as we continue with the discussion, so talking about vocation, should people limit their expertise to one field, or should they spread their wings across various things?
Well, I think that is best answered in this way, that God called us differently. Some are gifted and talented in various fields. Some are talented in one thing. I think for me, like Ruth just said, and interestingly, I edited her work when she was doing a PhD in Leeds, in I think Manchester also. And I saw her here talking with me too. But let me say this, that I think it is good if you are gifted by God in various fields to exercise your calling. For me, I think it's good, because I'm called to be a police, I'm called to be a writer, I'm called to be a musician, I'm called to be a pastor. So I encourage those who have various kind of callings and giftings by God to exercise it. But for those who don't have such giftings, even if it's one, I think it just reminded me of the story of the talents in the Bible. Maybe I have multiple talents, and for me, they work so well. And I encourage everyone who has had his own, or everybody who's looking for a purpose in life, to ask himself or herself, what are the giftings that God has given me, so that they can put it to use too.
That's awesome. A good friend of ours, Jerry Swamp City, says you need to spread your wings and stand out. And Peace also said you have a great personality with so much gifts. So thank you so much for people that are commenting. Please keep the comments coming. So I want us to talk about, you are a police officer, you are a superintendent of police, which is a very big position in the police force. For the past decade or so, there has been a rising wave of insecurity in Nigeria, or security challenges in Nigeria. For instance, everyone knows about Boko Haram and also the recent Fulani terrorist attacks that have worsened in Nigeria, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, leading to the loss of many lives and valuable property. Not only that, there is this recent widespread of kidnappings that are very alarming and petrifying in the Nigerian country. Will you blame the current political administration for these insecurity challenges? But before you answer that question, let me also tell our viewers that my guest today is currently serving in the Nigerian police force, we have had this discussion that I will ask him all the frank questions, but he should feel free to answer any one of them that he wants to. So it's just a caveat there because he's actively working, is in duty, so to speak, he's still in service. So feel free to answer any of my questions. Anyone that you don't want to answer, we will understand. We had that conversation with you. So the question was, given all these security challenges that we have in Nigeria, Boko Haram, Fulani, herdsmen, many people are dying and kidnapping and what have you, who will you blame for this? Will you blame especially the current administration?
I don't think I will blame the current administration only. This has been a combination of many years of neglect, starting from independence to today. So it's not something that has to do with just this current administration. We've allowed insecurity to grow and grow and grow, and over the years, it keeps worsening and worsening and worsening. So it's not really the problem of this current administration. Of course, they have inherited it, but I think they are doing their best the way they can.
So when you say we have allowed, can you define the we there?
Nigerians, all of us, those who vote politicians and the politicians we voted, we don't hold them to account for their leadership and their leadership and also their tenureship. We allow them to have their way all the time, and then they come back. They tell us lies and we vote them back to office. So when I say we, I mean we, the voting populace of Nigeria, have allowed politicians to play with us. And then the politicians themselves have not been honest to God, and they don't go by the oath they took, both from the Quran and the Bible. So I think when I say we, I mean all of us. We all have a hand in the insecurity in the country.
The question is, somebody listening to you will say, the question somebody may want to ask is, when you are including the masses, do the masses actually have power when you say we have allowed them, as if there was something we were supposed to do that we didn't do as the masses, So what specifically will you have wanted us to do?
To vote them out.
Okay, voting.
To refuse to vote them into offices. To refuse to take the little Maggi and the 200 naira they give us. To refuse the salt they give us. And then to call them for who they are, thieves and looters.
Wow. All right. So we need to vote them out. We need to call them out. We need to, do what is responsible to do as citizens. As a senior police officer, will you say the Nigerian police force as a security entity feels inadequate or probably overwhelmed by these security challenges? Will you say that? Will you affirm that?
Wow, good question. I do not think that the Nigerian police force is overwhelmed. I don't agree. I think every society is deserving of the police it gets. I think so. And of course, the Conventional United Nations Charter says that there should be, I think there should be one policeman to at least 100 people or so, if I'm getting it correctly. But at the moment, we have a police force that has about 350,000, policing 200 million Nigerians plus. So I don't think we're inadequate. We're only inadequate in manpower and number. And then we are not able to cover the whole country at all the time. So if there's any inadequacy that the police have suffered, I think it's manpower and then lack of equipment. I mean, equipment that are high-tech, very sophisticated ones for the 21st century, we don't have them. We're still operating the colonial police still today. So I think that's about it. But when you look at it very well, the police has done its best, given the circumstance under which they operate.
So this lack of equipment and lack of manpower, don't these factors make you feel inadequate in some way to kind of tackle the security challenges? Was my question.
Yes, it makes us a little inadequate.
Okay.
I agree with you.
All right.
So I've been to countries where I see policemen, where I was in Turkey, for example, and I saw I was in Turkey. I saw the police officer that was taking us around told us that Turkey had about 70 million people. And then they have less than 100,000 policemen. And then you find a province, which is like a state in Nigeria. You may find a province that has less than 50 policemen, 50 as I mean 50 in number. And yet they can police the whole state because one, they have CCTV cameras all over the country. They have helicopters. They have computers that just by looking at your plate number, they will enter it into your computer and they get every data and every information they need about you. So no criminal can go unpunished. Whereas in Nigeria, we don't have those things. So the policeman does not have telephones, does not have walkie-talkies. He's on his own. He has to detect crime using his normal mental understanding of whatever it is without high-tech technology. So for us, it makes us a little inadequate.
All right, you are saying
we have.
You say a little inadequate, but some of our viewers don't seem to agree with that. For instance, Emmanuel Junior Zaka says inadequacy is synonymous with policing in Nigeria. There is no way around that argument. Significant inadequacy, he even capitalized.
That's his opinion.
And Jerry Swamsidi is also seems to be concurring. Well, first he says the Nigerian government has it all, and he also says that they have all it takes to equip our police. How will you respond to this to comments by Emmanuel Junior Zaka and Jerry Swamsidi?
What did Emmanuel say?
Emmanuel is saying that police.
What did Emmanuel say?
Emmanuel says policing inadequacy is synonymous with policing in Nigeria.
Like I said, he's entitled to his opinion, but I think he's correct. He's not correct. And we should leave it that way. I wish I can engage him at a different forum, but he would understand better. Because when you judge a man without standing in his shoes, you won't even understand him. So says Seneca. But I agree with him. And then Jerry said something like the Nigerian government has what it takes to equip the police. Sure, of course they have. Sure, they have. They have. No doubt about that.
So that leads to my next question. Would you say that the issue of security has been politicized in Nigeria?
If you explain a little bit more, maybe I understand your question.
Are people playing with people's lives? Is the government playing with people's lives to the extent that people, our politicians, will rather protect their political interests than protect people's lives, especially in cases of security?
Well, all of us are Nigerians, and we know that in Nigeria, everything has political undertones. And security itself has suffered from the hands of those who play politics with it at some point. Nobody denies that fact, that we play with the lives of people. And you would see what is happening around Southern Kaduna, in Plateau and everywhere, where politicians would naturally deny that those things are happening. Politicians may be people perhaps in... So for me, I agree. There might be politics happening somewhere. I'm not a politician, so I don't even understand the inner workings of politics. But if it is true, I think it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm with you. We are still talking about, this issue of...
Hello, Seth?
Yes, can you hear me? I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me? Maybe you should go out and come back and log in again.
I cannot hear you. It's breaking.
All right. So we're having some technical glitches there. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, awesome. Awesome. So I said we are still talking about security challenges. Of course, you will understand that because you are.
I can hear you, sir.
Oh, all right, awesome. So I'm asking the next question. I'm asking you, still talking about security challenges in Nigeria, is if you were Nigeria's president, will you empower the security agencies to tackle, or how will you empower the security agencies to tackle the many security challenges that our country is currently facing if you were the Nigerian president?
Well, you said if I was the Nigerian president. Well, I am not, and I may not be the president of Nigeria. I am not a politician, and I don't foresee. Perhaps when I retire at the age of 60, I may give it a shot to be the president of Nigeria. But that I'm not the president of Nigeria does not also mean that the president at the moment does not know what he is doing. This is all I will say. If I'm the president of Nigeria, the first thing I will do is that I've looked at the merit of the issues in Nigeria. The best thing the president can do is to have asked God for wisdom, just like Solomon asked God for wisdom to rule the children of Israel. So if I'm the president of Nigeria, just to answer your question, Seth, the first thing I will do right now as I talk to you, that I will look at the overwhelming security challenges and then seek the face of God. And then when I found his face, he will give me an answer to this, to how to tackle this matter. Because Nigerian problem defies answers. So the best way is to seek the face of God. Like Solomon, when you are endowed with wisdom like Solomon as the president of Nigeria, then perhaps at that time I'll be able to solve the problem. But by the time I'll be president of Nigeria anyway, the context may be different.
How true is it though that Nigeria's problems defy answers?
It's very true. Nigeria's problem is systemic. There's no sector of Nigeria that is not corrupt. There's no sector. And the corruption in Nigeria is not even perpetrated by the big, the rich, and the elites. It also goes down to the lowest person at the lower rank of the ladder. You go to ministries, for your file to be treated, monies have to exchange hands. For a messenger in the office. So it's systemic. Nigeria's problem is, no one man can solve Nigeria's problems. So the problem of Nigeria is such that only God will have to step in. Go to the universities, it's the same thing. Go to the polytechnics, the same thing. Go to hospitals, go to every sector, police, military, air force, everywhere.
That's true. That's true. That Nigerian, the entire system, I agree with you that there is this systemic corruption that affects every person, from the people, from the politicians, even to the poor people. Let me read you a comment by Ruth Madaki. It's a little bit lengthy, so I may not be able to, display that on the screen. But she says, I beg to add that this present administration should be held responsible for the increasing wave of insecurity and the blatant show of confidence by the criminals in carrying out their nefarious crimes. I am saying this because the government has shown little or no commitment to eradicate or stop the wave of crimes. I think that this administration has witnessed the most incidents of crimes and the popularization of kidnapping and banditry. Will you want to respond to that?
I think Ruth has just said what she feels is the problem. But you see, sometimes it is very easy to stand as a spectator and just be a critic, because we don't know the avalanche of information the government at the moment has at its disposal. We don't know the things they know. We are just citizens of the country. And then from our own point of view, we may look at it and say, well, the government is not doing anything. So I want to concede to what Ruth says, but I also want to think that perhaps, yes, I think the government can do better. That's my thoughts.
And this is what Peace says. Peace says that it is apparent that the security situation is overwhelming, and it seems that the man at the helm of leadership has lost touch with reality. You see, people are still, and I think I'm of this view that to some extent, that our problems are not so much because we don't know what is the solution. Our problems, that was why I asked you that initial question, whether you will subscribe to the view that security has been politicized in Nigeria. Feel free to respond to any of these comments if you want to. And Jerry Swam CD also says, wisdom is to guard our walls by providing adequate security. Reconstruct.
Yeah, well, I wanted to respond to Peace.
Okay, please go ahead.
She said the man at the top. Well, there are many men at the top. I don't know whether she was talking about the IGP of the police, the president of the country, but who is the man at the top? So maybe she tells us who is the man at the top that has lost touch with reality. Then maybe I'll be able to respond better.
That sounds really hilarious. Jerry says, wisdom is to guard our walls by providing adequate security, reconstruct the systemic corruption that we have from the grassroots, provide food to the people by patronizing locally made in Nigeria foods and or goods. The people are hungry, so the rate of crime is high. And I don't know whether you want to respond to Jerry.
I concur 100% to that statement.
All right. And Peace just responded to you by saying that she's actually referring to Mr. President. And I thought that was what she meant to.
Okay, that he has lost touch with reality. Well, I'm not the president. I'm not his spokesperson. But maybe for her, the president has been an absentee president. Maybe he's not always seen. He's always heard but not seen. Maybe that's what she wants. And maybe I don't know Peace anyway. Maybe she has been around the world and have seen how presidents around the world respond to like the killings in Borno State. If it were an American president, the 43 farmers that were killed, there would have been a press conference, the president would have visited the place. So for some Nigerians, they don't see this president as that kind of person, even though he told us in 2015 that he will lead from the front. Maybe Nigerians have not seen that happening, and they are saying he has lost touch with reality. Yes, they may be right. Yes, they may be right. I agree with them that perhaps he has lost touch with reality. And sometimes when you are encountered in your own comfortability, you understand what people go through.
Emmanuel Junior Zaka says corruption is indeed a big elephant. The litany of corruption in the country is without a doubt endless and in every sphere of our society. So I want us to kind of, I know you will agree with that. I want us to move to talk about the SARS and the counter-SARS protest. I understand that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, also known as SARS, was formulated to tackle the security challenges facing the country. There were widespread reported cases of SARS officers mistreating innocent Nigerian citizens. Will you describe SARS as a mistake or a failure?
I don't agree that SARS was a mistake, and I don't agree that SARS was a failure. Maybe a little history will help. In 1992, after the killing of Colonel Rindams, there was an altercation between the Nigerian, after the killing of Colonel Rindams, he's from Plateau State, in 1992. When he was killed, the military and the police had an altercation because he was shot by some policemen. So there were killings and fightings between police and the military. So the police and the military all withdrew to the barracks. So the criminals in Lagos had their way, and they started killing people in Lagos, stealing, kidnapping, and doing whatever they would do. So in 1992, the Nigerian police force then decided to have a special anti-robbery squad, which is the meaning of SARS, to curb crime of armed robbery and stealing and kidnap, and in those days. So that was how SARS came about. And then it metamorphosed into many things over the years. But I don't want to agree that SARS was a mistake. Of course, we will only see the bad side of SARS, but we also forgot that many men who have served in the SARS also paid the supreme price. Some of them were killed by armed robbers. Some of them had their children growing today without a father. And if you have one bad SARS officer, then I can assure you that there are two others that are good. And there are plenty of them like that. They were able to halt armed robbery to some certain degree around the country. And I don't accept the fact that, yes, I'm not refusing the fact that there are bad elements in SARS, as you find in every sector of Nigeria. Whether you go to the hospitals, you find bad doctors, you go to universities, you have brandy lecturers who would ask sex for marks and all of those. We have such in the Nigerian police force, but I agree, and I say that from the depths of my heart, that I've seen officers who paid the supreme price, some of them maimed and crippled for life, because when no other person will go against robbers and thieves, they dared to go. And some of them were shot, and the Nigerian government, and I dare say, not even this government, but successive governments that have gone before this one, have never, ever helped those families whose heads were lost because of armed robbery and others. So SARS isn't a mistake. Just like any other thing, there were bad people who gave SARS a bad name.
I agree with that the life of every Nigerian, whether you are a police officer or whoever you are, the life of every Nigerian matters. The life of every Nigerian should be treated with utmost care. So the question is, you know, the NSAS protests were, among many other things, a cry to end injustice that the arms of government were perpetrating against innocent Nigerian citizens. Will you agree that the motive of the NSAS protest was a worthy one? If so, why? If not, why?
Yeah, those who started the NSAS, the peaceful protesters, had a genuine case, because even me, who speaks to you today, have been a victim of SARS operatives. If I have not been directly, I have brothers, cousins, and nieces, and family and friends who were victims of SARS. I don't deny that. And for some of us who serve in the Nigerian police, we know the excesses that SARS has perpetrated over time. But I want to say that those who started the NSAS peace protesters, were really the genuine people who were going out for something that would have been good for Nigeria. And for me, they have a good motive, and I concede to that one. They had a good motive, asking that no, Nigerians should be treated with dignity. All Nigerians should not be treated like common criminals like SARS were doing, because SARS went beyond the normal call of duty. In fact, it became another criminal agency at some point because of some bad people among them. But those who started it really had a good motive for what they were doing.
Okay. Thank you so much to hear this from a police officer. I think that is encouraging to hear. There are many reputable police officers in Nigeria. You and among many other people that I know, there are reputable police officers whose stories are not always told. But on the most part, the Nigeria police force does not have a lot of respect among Nigerians. Why do you think this is so? And how can such a negative image of the police force be transformed in Nigeria?
Nigeria, well, let me also say that every society deserves the kind of police it gets. That is number one. Every society deserves the kind of police it gets. The Nigerian police force is a colonial contraption. And if you check the history of every police, just like Nigerian police, it was meant to serve the elites, even the colonial masters at that time. So that mentality was carried over post-independence into Nigeria to today. And so most Nigerians naturally will not like the police. Of course, Seth, even you who is interviewing me now, if your mother, your father, whoever is more strict among them, you don't like. Let's be honest. So if mommy would allow you have your way and daddy would not allow you have your way, you would naturally gravitate towards mommy who would always let you have your way. So for Nigerians, the only people who will stop them from doing what they want, because they find them on the roads asking them for their car particulars, they find them on the roads asking them that no, this is how far you can go and this is how far you cannot go. So naturally they will hate the Nigerian police force because they interface with Nigerians at all times. And so the respect the Nigerians will give policemen will not be there. But I want to tell you something that I agree that some of us in the police force have given ourselves that bad name. I am one person that is so proud of the Nigerian police force. I wear my uniform with dignity and honor. I love this job. If there will be another world again, I would want to be a police officer again. That's how much I love this job. And like other Nigerians, I've also frowned at officers that even when I drive on the road and I see them molest citizens, I stop and I talk to them, and then I rescue those citizens from their hands, being a senior police officer. And so the only way we can get the respect of the Nigerian police force is a renewal of the mind of all police officers, rechanging the system that we have grown to have. And then another thing again, Nigerians have not helped the Nigerian police force because at our recruitment point, we have not done well. Let me give you one example. I am from Panshin. I have had traditional rulers from my village who will call me and tell me, Davidson, we want you to help us put this boy or this girl in the Nigerian police force. And then by the time they tell you more, they will tell you that he's always stealing our goats, he's stealing our chickens. And then they want me to help that boy to join the Nigerian police force. So the recruitment is also bad because we take the bad ones and dump them in the police. Then the good ones we send to universities to be lecturers. And then the bad ones, you find my king from my village asking me, police, let him join the Nigerian police force. So the recruitment is another problem. So if we want to do a cultural reorientation of changing the minds of the Nigerian police force, maybe a curriculum will change in the way we train them at the academies and the police colleges. And I assure you that as I'm talking now, these things are being worked upon. They are changing by the day. And let me also tell you, there's no organization that deals with its own more than the Nigerian police force. Do you know that every day in Nigeria, one policeman or the other is facing trial, either being demoted or dismissed? So we're the only one who check ourselves more, but the public don't see that anyway.
Well, you have said you have made a lot of powerful statements there, but the point I was making, I agree with you, almost everything you have said, but the point I was making is the fact that when you just say police in Nigeria, the picture that comes to people's mind is not usually positive because of course, there is a precedence to that. And I believe, I agree with you that there are a lot of reputable police officers, but generally speaking, because of all this issue of taking bribe, they stop you on the road. I, for one, have faced that a lot when I was back in Nigeria. They will stop you and just cook a story, and they just want, it's lucubrious. Let me read what some of the comments that we have here. Emmanuel Junior Zaka, who has been very active today. I actually interviewed Emmanuel. You can see one of my my interviews with him. Emmanuel Junior Zaka says SARS truly served its purpose, but I think it was supposed to be reformed and reorganized after dealing significantly with the purpose for which it was formed. Many people do not know the origin of SARS. That is why they conclude it has always been bad. It turned bad after it dealt with the cases of armed robbery and was left the way it always was, and thus began to get involved in all trivial and mundane issues. I think that you will agree with Emmanuel on this point.
Sure, he's right.
Okay.
SARS outlived its purpose.
Okay. And Peace also says that NSAS protest was peaceful until the politicians hijacked the entire process. This is where our problem lies in Nigeria. The country has been very unfortunate with its leadership, among almost in all sectors. And these are some of the things that you have said earlier. So I want us to proceed with the discussion, still, talking about this SARS and the counter NSAS movement. Do you foresee this protest coming back?
Which of the protests?
The NSAS protest, agitations and protests in Nigeria.
Maybe we should understand the context of NSAS. I think NSAS was just a metaphor. NSAS was not just about the Nigerian police force, if you had looked at it very well.
I agree.
NSAS was about ending bad governance. Now, the agitation for NSAS may resurface because right now as I speak to you, SARS does not exist again. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
SARS does not exist now. That unit of Nigerian police force has been disbanded. Not only just being disbanded, some of them have been asked, and I know that when I say that to you with all authority, that they have been asked to go through some psychiatric tests, which has been done and is being done up to now. Those of them who will need more medical treatment are already undergoing treatment for therapy to be human beings again because of what they have perpetrated over the years. But NSAS was just a metaphor. It wasn't just about the Nigerian police force. If you want to be honest to yourself, because when you look at all the things that they have enumerated, all their agitations or all their whatever they wanted, 23 points that they wanted, wasn't just about the Nigerian police force. So I foresee NSAS coming up again. It may just be a metaphor, as if they are fighting the brutality of police, but it's about bad governance. So if we continue with bad governance, or if the leaders of today do not learn the lessons that these NSAS protests have taught us, then you can be sure it will come up again. Because Nigeria, the youths have no jobs. They are at home. Universities are not open. They've been at home for 8-9 months, and then they don't have jobs, even those who graduate. And then there's no money, and then hardship is increasing by the day, poverty is increasing by the day. A bag of rice today is 35,000 naira for a man who does not even have a job. So I foresee it will come again because the youths are getting tired. And until every government, and I don't speak to just this government, every government the world over tackles injustice, tackles unemployment, tackles poverty and hunger, it will get to a point that the youths will say no. And every goat that is pushed to the wall will bite. So it will come back again, sir. I just think it's just a matter of time.
I agree with you 100% that it was just a metaphor that represented different things. What do you know about the Lekki shootings?
Well, what I know about the Lekki shootings is what I read in the papers, what I saw on the internet, and what I saw on television. I don't live in Lekki. I don't live in Lagos. I've seen the videos. I've seen the denials. I've seen whatever the government said, the military said, the Lagos governor said. So that's all I know about it. Because if I tell you with every sense of entitlement or every sense of truth that I know so much about it, then I will lie. Because I've never even tried to go through investigating whatever happened in Lekki. Like you. Like all Nigerians, that's what I saw on the internet and the media.
All right. I was just assuming that probably as a senior security officer in Nigeria, you probably might have been briefed about the details.
No, I wasn't briefed. Okay. Well, I chose not to be briefed because I was paid.
Okay. So I want us to talk about something that kind of was the aftermath of the NSAS protest, which is this issue of palliatives and the subsequent looting of property. So after the discovery of these palliatives that a lot of governments, state governments, kind of hoarded and refused to give to Nigerians are dying and suffering, and these palliatives, so-called palliatives, were kept somewhere. After the discovery, there were all kinds of looting and all kinds of things happen because of that. You recently posted a video on Facebook lamenting about this ugly trend of looting. Kindly let viewers know what your thoughts are about lootings, and especially the issue of the palliatives?
Well, I'll give you three categories of Nigerians as the palliatives were concerned. 10% are real hungry Nigerians who went for food that were hoarded by politicians and governors. 10% of them were really hungry people, and you will see them that they went for food. And then you have some, like 40% of those who just followed the bandwagon because they have found a place, they just followed the bandwagon, and whatever they got, food there they picked. But the other 50% were just thieves, those who capitalized on the happening of that time to loot people's homes and to steal from people and to take what does not belong to them, because the lootings went beyond food. They started looting chairs, looting tables in people's homes and offices. Those 50% were criminals who capitalized on what was happening. So the 10% who actually went for food, because I saw some of them in Bukuru. You saw very old women packing rice that has broken from a sack with brooms, with this dish a mama was fetching it, using her broom to sweep it along with the sack to go and pick at home. You will know that is hunger. But the other 40% were those who followed the bandwagon, those who just enjoyed the state of anarchy. And then the last 50%, the criminals who went after people's homes. So my thoughts about even the video I sent was that the state of anarchy was already looming in the country at that point. And I made the video to say, no, if that continues, these same boys who feasted on the homes and offices of government will also begin to visit the middle class. And my fear was that everybody in the middle class will become a target of those criminals, because they will start stopping people from their homes using their cars. Anybody that has a car will have a problem. I have been able to I was in Sierra Leone. I've seen that happen in Sierra Leone. I went for peacekeeping in Sierra Leone, and I saw that happen in Sierra Leone as a police officer, where young boys were going into people's homes because you have a car and a house. Whether you work for government or not, it doesn't matter. So that was my fear at that point, that anarchy may loom to the point that people will start stealing. But the truth was that I agree with the 10% who went for food, because the governments of different states of Nigeria hoarded the food. And to tell you that they really hoarded the food, they were also posting 2 days later after those boys do those things, that those food are not safe for human consumption, that they have stayed there for too long and are expired. That was the height of ungodliness and evil.
That's so profound what you have said. So in other words, we cannot legitimize, can we legitimize whether the hoarding of food or the looting of food? Can we legitimize any? And if we want to go into situational ethics, can we say one is a lesser evil than the other?
Yeah, if we go by situational ethics, we'll say, okay, one is a lesser evil. But when we want to look at it holistically, whatever is not yours that you take is sin, is evil. It's just, we can't legitimize it. To go in and break those places was evil in itself. It wasn't good. But when you look at situational ethics, or if God would judge us by motives, I'll say, okay, that's a lesser evil because I'm hungry and there's food kept there. I will go for it.
Let me read you some. We still have quite a bit to talk about. Let me read you some of the comments that have been coming in. So Peace says leadership is the cause of everything in Nigeria. Leadership is the cause. Everything else is an effect. What is happening in Nigeria? And Emmanuel Junior Zaka also says, God bless you for being proud of your profession of being a police. God bless you for always rescuing innocent citizens from the excesses of some of your men. I am happy to hear that you do that. I will do the same. So I am also proud of you for being, you don't find people that a lot of police officers that can confidently tell you that they are very proud of their profession in Nigeria. And I think this is one of the ways to transform the profession by, giving it a different image. And Peace also says that she loves the way you speak with passion about your profession. She's also wishing that all police officers were as passionate or as proud of their profession as you are. And it's Emmanuel Junior Zaka and Peace. So I want us to go to something that is a little bit different, but it's also connected to some of the things we've been talking about. You love to identify yourself as a social critic. How do you combine your work as a senior police officer with that of being a social critic? In other words, don't these disparate engagements conflict with one another? If not, how so?
There's this saying that says, well, let me answer Peace and also answer the other fella, Zaka Jr., for saying they are proud of me. I want them to know that I have been working in the Nigerian police force. I have never taken 20 naira from anybody. I say that on live. I am saying that to anybody. I dare anybody to come and tell me I've never extorted money from anybody. I have never cheated anybody. I have never seen what is right, and I refuse to say it. And I say that with a sense of pride. And I'm saying that because many people have met me and they left with an impression to say, no, we didn't know that we have such policemen. So for me, I'm doing that one. So I just give them that one. Then the question you asked about me being a social critic and then being a police officer, it says that he who must come to justice, he who will come to justice must come with a clean hand, or something like that. Equity must come with a clean hand. Now, I cannot be a social critic if I myself am corrupt, I'm evil. My hands are clean. So I can dare look at the government, look at my friends in government, look at the people I fraternize and eat and dine with who are high up there in government. I have friends who are politicians. I have friends who are senior military and police officers. And because my hands are clean, I can dare look them in the face and say, no, what you are doing is evil. So for me, maybe perhaps my hands are clean. I feel so. If no one tells me, I'm proud to say to myself that my hands are clean, so I can be a social critic to say, no, government, you didn't get it right. I can be able to say, no, government, this one is evil. So for me, combining them isn't an issue. It's just the matter of the core of who I am. In fact, I don't even see any disparity between me being a police officer and a social critic. It is the core of the person that I am. And if that's your core, then you don't even have to act a role. It's just you.
Don't some of your colleagues in the police in the police force feel that you should just hold back and not be airing your views concerning what is happening in the country because you are supposed to work for the government?
Yeah, well, so many of them are proud of what I do, and they would come in secret to say, "Wow, you are brave. Thank you for speaking our minds." A few of them will warn me, Hankeli, be careful, be careful, be careful. That's they tell me. I have even politicians, some even senators and members of House of Reps that will come and say, Kai, go and drop that your post. It's so hard. But I have lived with this idea that it is better that I walk with God, and when my time and assignment on earth is done, when I meet Jesus, he'll be proud of me. For me, that is how I see it. I may lose my job as a police officer in the process. Of course, it's possible. But I may become a journalist because I can write.
You are a man of many caps. You wear many caps. You specialize.
And I can go back to church.
That's true. That's true. This is what Emmanuel Junior Zaka is saying. He says you need to raise people in the force like yourself. You need to reproduce your kind by way of mentorship, like Father Omachi Michael will say. Okay, so yeah. He's saying he's proud of you. You need to. Let me ask you the question. Let me follow up what Emmanuel Junior Zaka said. Have you taken a conscious effort? Have you been very conscious about raising your own kind in the police force?
I have raised many. I can give you names, and I'm proud of them.
Awesome.
Very, very plenty. I have worked in Lagos. I have people like Sheun in Lagos. I have people like Omotola in Lagos. I have Toyin in Lagos. I have worked in Sokoto. I have Ayuba. I have John. I have worked in Abia State. I've worked in Owerri, and I have boys everywhere. And I'm proud when they tell me that, Oga, we will not do the thing because we have seen you. Because I have shown them what righteousness can give. They have seen me got so much from being righteous. In fact, I have helped people out of situations that gave me money. I have saved a man in whose car I found $150,000 and I returned it. And it helped them to see me in another dimension. And the man ended up giving me plenty of the dollars and said, no, this is for your honesty, have this.
Did you
and
say,
so I've told my friends,
sorry to interject. Did you say $150,000?
$50,000 in a car that somebody had an accident with. And then I rescued them. One of his sons died. One was unconscious. I took the money. I kept the money. In fact, he was a Grand Cadet of Nigeria. And he came back and I gave him his money all intact with some Nigerian currency, I think 2 or 3 million, 2 point something million. And I gave him all. And my boys have watched the man come to express gratitude to me. And I told them that if I had stolen the money, I would be able to sleep. So I have replicated myself in some of them. I have mentored them. I'm still mentoring many. I have some few more years to go on this job. And I will do that so long as I have breath.
Please do. I mean, this testimony you just shared it's so rare, not just in Nigeria. I mean, it's so rare to hear this type of testimony. So thank you so much for representing, for being an example of how not to do police in Nigeria. I think that is so, your testimony is so powerful. Let's talk about religion. You are a trained priest. And of course, you are ordained, and you also at a point you serve as a priest in the church. I want us to talk about religion and politics. Religion and politics, as you know, are often conflated in Nigeria. What is responsible for the politicization of religion and the so-called religionization of politics in Nigeria?
Well, let me say this. Religionization of politics in Nigeria started when the North started playing the religious card. If you check the First Republic, when people like Azikiwe and Awolowo and Sardauna were in the helm of affairs, you'll find out that Zik and Awolowo did not see religion as being part of politics. In fact, they tried to make it separate from politics. But the northern part of Nigeria, and I say that with some pain, decided to play the religious card in politics. And then before you know it, CAN and other Christian organizations also began to see the fact that religion has entered into the politics of Nigeria. And that has been our bane till today, because we look at everything with under the prism of religion. So if I come out for governor of Plateau State today, and I have brothers who are Muslims that will say no. They will say no. They will not vote me because I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, and all of those. So religion and politics in Nigeria can never be separated, because we have two major religions in Nigeria. One religion teaches you to be honest with God, to be honest with what you are called to do. Another religion tells you that no, you cannot separate your religion and your person. For us, for some people, so some other religion, they see you, once you occupy an office, you occupy it and just be honest to God, separate your religion from that office. And that is what the other religion, but another religion tell you that no, our religion is a way of life. If you join the Nigerian army, you are that religion in that army. If you go to be a professor in the university, you are that religion there. If you become a governor, that is that. So that is what is happening in Nigeria. And so the other religion that has also looked at it that, well, we won't be bothered, are also becoming bothered. And so everybody is playing religion.
Do you think that seems to be like a pessimistic view of the intersection of religion and politics? The question is, do you foresee a time that there will be separation of religion and politics, the sacred and the secular in Nigeria?
I'm a realist, not a pessimist. I believe that we will never get to that point. On this part of the divide, until we get to heaven, religion will never be separated from Nigeria's politics. We have gone way too deep into it. It's not possible. Maybe after I'm gone, but not within my lifetime.
So, well, I don't know whether I subscribe to that view, but yeah. So, what are your concluding thoughts? First, what are your thoughts? What are your concluding thoughts to fellow police officers that may be watching this, and what are your thoughts to Nigerians in general?
Well, my final thought to Nigerians is that please, Nigerians, listen and listen good. We have some godly officers in the Nigerian police force. We are a bunch of people that are working for an ungrateful nation. Our job is a thankless job. Many of you will be spending Christmas with your families, but believe me, some of us will be spending it out in the cold so that you can sleep. So when you see one bad person from among us, please don't use that as a generalization. Don't use that to judge all of us. Some of us are doing the best we can to give this job a good one. That is my thoughts for Nigerians. And then to police officers like me, I beg you, in the name of God, serve well, because at the end of it, we will all account to God. Because one day the uniform we wear, we will get detached from it, we will remove it, and then we'll become citizens like everybody else. And I beg that we see this job as a calling. I don't see it as something. I was talking this afternoon, I talked somewhere about the uniform, and I'm going to say it here. I see my uniform, and I beg all police officers to see it that way. The uniform is not for oppression, but the uniform should be used as a calling.
So powerfully put. What a way to end this program. I want to take this time to thank you very much for first of all accepting to be part of this interview, and also your honest and frank conversations. This is one of the best interviews I've had. I thank you so much, Mr. Lar, for availing yourself and for also answering these questions as frankly as you could. I really appreciate you. And for those of you that participated, that commented, that contributed to the discussion, I also thank you very much for taking your time to follow this program. As I always say, the interview, this is something I do every Saturday and every Sunday. So tomorrow I will be bringing another interesting guest that I believe most of you will want to listen to. I will be posting the flyer shortly after this conversation. But thank you very much for availing yourself to be part of this program. I pray that you will enjoy your weekend. Mr. Lar, do you want to say any byes?
Seth, thank you for having me. It's been a great honor. Thank you so much. And I'm always available. Thank you, and God bless you. Please, my kind regards to Madame and those 3 beautiful kids.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine. I believe that sometime I will still bring you back to have another interesting conversation. For all of you that have been watching, enjoy the rest of your weekend and check out another episode of this program tomorrow, the same time, and bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.